You know that feeling when a love story works not because of the plot twist, but because you're completely obsessed with the characters? That one love interest who makes you giggle, blush, yell at the screen, and text your group chat in all caps? Yeah, that's who we're building today. Hi, I'm Helen, a writing coach and award winning produced screenwriter with an MFA in creative writing. On my channel, I teach you the craft of romance storytelling. In this video, we're breaking down how to write a love interest with real depth. Not just hot, not just witty, but someone who feels alive. Someone who makes readers and your protagonist fall for them on the page. Writing a swoon-worthy character isn't about charm alone. If your love interest doesn't feel emotionally layered and compelling, the entire love story falls flat. But when you get it right, that's when sparks fly and your readers keep turning the page. So now that we know it's not enough for a love interest to just be hot and clever, let's talk about where you should start. And trust me, it's not the dimples. It starts with the wound and not the wink. Before you write the charm, the chemistry, or even their first flirty line, ask yourself, what's the pain they carry that makes love hard for them? That wound, the emotional scar they're hiding or protecting, is what gives your love interest depth. It's what makes us root for them, not just want to kiss them, though that's fun too. Most love interests aren't struggling because they've never met the right person. They're struggling because something in their past is shaping how they love or why they don't. That could be heartbreak, shame, abandonment, pressure, or fear. And once we understand that, we're hooked. Let's look at love and basketball. Quincy isn't just the smooth jock next door. He's living under the pressure of being his father's son until he realizes his father isn't the man that he thought he was. That betrayal cracks him open. And suddenly, his hot and cold thing with Monica makes so much emotional sense. His wound drives his choices, and that's what makes his journey feel honest. Or take Love Simon. Bram's secrecy and anxiety around being outed aren't just plot points, they're his emotional wound. He's afraid of being seen and rejected. That fear shapes every interaction, every romantic moment, until he's finally brave enough to be fully known. So, when you're creating your love interest, don't reach for the surface stuff first. Go deeper. What are they afraid of? What are they protecting? Because that's where their story and their love really begins. Now that we've cracked their emotional armor, let's talk about what they want when love isn't even on the table. We'll look at how to help make your love interest feel like a whole person and not just someone waiting to be kissed. So, now that you've uncovered your love interest's emotional wound, that thing they're afraid of or protecting, we need to give them something to fight for. And no, it's not just the relationship. One of the most common mistakes writers make is building a love interest whose only purpose is, well, being loved. They orbit the protagonist, they show up to flirt, they maybe toss in a little banter, but if you took the romance out of the story, they'd have nothing going on. A truly compelling love interest wants something outside of the love story. They have goals too, dreams, ambitions. Maybe they're chasing a career break, or repairing a family relationship, or fighting for something they believe in. Whatever it is, this goal gives them dimension. It makes them feel like a whole person, not just a character created to be kissed. Let's go to Sweet Home, Alabama. Jake isn't just the hot ex husband with a sexy drawl. He's also trying to build a life he's proud of, which includes growing his business and redefining who he is outside of Melanie. That personal goal creates tension because his pride and her career are in conflict. And that's what makes the romance spark. So, when you're writing your love interest, ask, what would they be doing if they weren't falling in love? What matters to them outside the main relationship? And once you've given them something to want, don't make it easy for them to get it. In fact, their own flaws should constantly get in the way. So now your love interest has a personal goal beyond love, which makes them feel real. But what happens when that goal or that wound gets in the way of intimacy? Here's the truth: perfect people don't lead great love stories. We fall for characters, not in spite of their flaws, but because of how human those flaws make them. Same goes for your love interest. And when those flaws interfere with the connection, that's where the romantic tension lives. Maybe your love interest is afraid of vulnerability. Maybe they're overly self reliant, controlling, impulsive, or constantly pushing people away. Whatever it is, it should create fiction in the relationship. It should be the thing that makes the reader scream, just tell them how you feel already. But also, I totally understand why they don't. In Love and Basketball, Monica and Quincy clearly love each other, but Quincy's pride and inability to communicate what he needs absolutely blocks their connection. He wants to be seen, but he hides his true feelings when it counts. That flaw costs him the relationship until he grows. Or in Sweet Home Alabama, Jake's stubbornness is part of his charm. Sure, but it also is the thing that keeps him from being honest about how much he still loves Melanie. That flaw keeps them apart for most of the film. So when you're writing your love interest, ask, what are they doing that's making love harder to reach? And once you know what their flaw is, here comes the fun part. Slowly, beautifully, and painfully letting their softer side slip through. So we've given your love interest a flaw, something that makes love harder to reach. Now it's time to melt your audience, but not all at once. The most captivating love interests don't show us their soft side in the first act. They let us earn it. And that slow reveal, that's what makes readers fall even harder. When you trickle in moments of softness, just little glimpses here and there, it builds anticipation. It makes us lean in. It tells us there's more to this character than what they show the world. And when that softness comes out in private, vulnerable, or even accidental moments, that's where the magic lives. This doesn't mean you have to write some gruff, broody character who secretly rescues kittens. I mean, unless that's your vibe. What it does mean is showing their heart over time. A pause, a look, an unguarded confession, a moment of care that catches us off guard. Think about Love, Simon. Bram doesn't have a ton of lines throughout the film, but when we finally see the quiet, tender way he looks at Simon, the way he's been protecting both of them while figuring himself out, it's powerful because it's earned. Or in Love and Basketball, it's the late night one on one games where Quincy lets his guard down. He's most himself, not in grand gestures, but in subtle, shared moments of safety. So ask yourself, what is your love interest hiding that only love can reveal? And how can you show us, little by little, what it's already there? So you've been peeling back the layers, showing us softness, vulnerability, and truth. Now we reach the part that makes it all matter. Your love interest should be changed by love, not just distracted by it, not just temporarily softened, transformed. That's the emotional payoff readers are craving. We've watched this character protect their wounds, chase their goals, sabotage intimacy, and let us see who they really are. But if love doesn't impact them, if they stay exactly the same, then the story falls flat. There's no growth, no arc, no catharsis. Change doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be quiet, a moment of truth telling, a willingness to choose love, even when it's scary, a decision to show up differently. not just for the protagonist, but for themselves. In Love and Basketball, Quincy has to let go of the image of who he thought he has to be. When he chooses Monica in the end, it's not just romantic, it's personal. He's different, and that's why it lands. So when you're writing your love interest, ask, how does love change them to become more honest, more open, more free? These questions will allow your ending to feel more satisfying and earned. Remember, writing a love interest with depth isn't about charm or perfection. It's about giving them wounds, wants, flaws, and a reason to grow. When your love interest feels real, layered, and emotionally open by the end, that's when the romance hits like nothing else. Want to take your romance to the next level? Watch my next video on writing sizzling romantic chemistry and how to build chemistry that jumps right off the page. And if you need help structuring your story, developing compelling characters, or getting unstuck, I offer one-on-one coaching for romance writers. Details are in the description below. Until next time, love, Helen.